Africa FM listeners, as usual, welcome once again to this new exclusive interview here at the International Summit of Algeria and Africa. And today I have the pleasure to have a special guest with me as I receive the daughter of the late president of Madagascar, Didier Ratsaraka, Mrs. Annick Zori. Zouari, Mrs. Annick Zouari Ratsiraka, who is also a national secretary of the Arima Party, right? Yeah, Arima Party at Madagascar. So we're going to delve into interesting insights between the two nations' relationship, Madagascar and Algeria, dating back to history till today. And first, I'm going to say welcome and thank you for receiving and accepting our invitation for this interview, ma'am.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's always a pleasure to have any and every national and international figures such as yourself who are active into promoting the Pan-Africanism for our continent. And for my first question, ma'am, I'm going to ask about the Algerian and Madagascar relationships dating back to history, as they share a very, very long history that dates back in the day. And also as the late Queen Malgache Rana Volana has been exiled here in Algeria. She lived and died here in Algeria as well. So we're going to have to hear your comment and how do you qualify the relationship between the two nations since then till today?
But the relationships are good, but maybe there was a little lull in the relationship between the two countries. Algeria is proactive in his way of being. Having relationship that the diplomatic relationship with Madagascar, but from Malagasy part we are a little let's say asleep in the relationship because we have an embassy here, but the embassy is empty. It has been empty for 10 years, and it's too bad because Algeria has a very strong history with Madagascar, as you said before. During the colonization, the first thing they did was to exile the queen, and the queen were exiled here in Algeria and died here in 1917. But we, during the presidency of President Didier Ratsiraka, we had really strong relationship with Algeria, and Algeria was a really privileged companion during the fights for freedom that we led together for the Portuguese-speaking countries, and for the apartheid, and for the Sahrawi, the Palestinians, etc., etc. We were hand in hand in that fight, and I think that the others have the chance to be free now, but we won't be free until everyone is free.
Of course, of course. And you have family members who were also here in Algeria before, and I hear your uncle did study here in
Yes.
Algeria before. Can you tell us his experience? How was it in Algeria back in the day?
Uh, I was once in Algeria. It was back in the day where President Boumediene was president, but I don't remember a lot because it was a long time ago. My uncle, it's the younger brother of my father, studied here. I have cousins too who studied here in Algeria, and my uncle is now an engineer. He's retired now, but he was an engineer thanks to the education we had here in Algeria.
And we share also deep relationships that goes to the Algerian Revolution that enacted and inspired Madagascar a lot. So what can you say about this Algerian Revolution that set inspiration for other nations in Africa, including Madagascar?
We have a common history in the years 40s. You had a massacre that was done here in Algeria, and in 47 it was the same in Madagascar. And the problem is that we were given our independence in 58. The first independence was in 58, the second one was in 60, the official one. We were a republic starting from 58, sorry, and in 1960 they gave us our independence. And the third the real independence we gained in 72 when we signed the agreement with France that we leave and we take we changed the money. We created the Ariari, the franc malgache, the Malagasy money, and we left the CFA, the French money. That was the last independence. But Algeria really had to fight to the nail to gain the independence. It's an example that we should follow. Today, Madagascar didn't have this fight. You kept your culture. Madagascar lost a lot in its culture. You still have your own religion. Madagascar is not Christian. I don't say that we need to go back to the old religions, but I mean that religion and culture is the basis to have an identity, and we are losing our identity. All the countries who have a strong identity, a strong cultural, historical identity, have a really a better development in the country. And I think we need to focus on that and see how the economy and how the culture and everything, the history should be implemented so all the African country can really be free from the colonization. Today, we have our independence for more than 60 years. But some people are still colonized in the head. Even if they didn't live during the colonization, today they are still colonized and they are still looking as the colonizer as some kind of superior being, and they can't grow with that thing in the head.
Of course, restoring the national identity is one of the most important tasks every nation should achieve. And we're going to go back to your late father, as he had deep relationships with Algeria back in the day. Similar, if we're going to mention one field over the other, it's mostly constructions. So your father had that field focused with Algeria. What can you share with us about that?
Can I show anything? I don't have anything to show today. I can share a lot about the education, principally because till today we still have educational relationship. We used to have a lot of relationship in, let's say, training for the military. We had, I have a cousin who had training for the Air Force here in Algeria, things like that. It was really something that needs to be implemented, that needs to be intensified for the emancipation of Madagascar.
Indeed. And Algeria and Madagascar have signed a lot of agreements together, especially when it comes to the economic field and also when it comes to social education and stuff. Can you explain or share more insights to our listeners and all our audience who don't know about these agreements, and explain how it could help prosper both nations?
There are a lot of things that were signed. I don't have the list right here, but what I mean to say is that there are countries that need things. Algeria has its needs, Madagascar has its needs. We can meet both ways. We are, for example, you have years and years of experiments in petroleum. Madagascar is just, let's say, we only have a few years in exploitation of petroleum, which are not made by Malagasy people but by stranger, and the feedback is really infinitesimal in Madagascar. We could cooperate with Algeria on that field. They could have teach us how to really take care of that. We have millions of barrels of fuel that can be extracted with the help of Algeria. I mean, I want to look at the future on how we can grow together and how we can help each other in growing. And there are still a lot of things to be done. And we were cut in our way in 2002 when we left the power.
But today a lot has changed between the two nations. How can you describe the diplomatic relationships between Algeria and Madagascar today?
The relationship exists, but as I say, there is no there is a lack of vision from our part, and the ambassador in Algeria and the foreign affairs here are the ones who are trying to offer. We are not cooperating enough in view of what can on what places on what fields we can cooperate with Algeria.
When it comes to this, what are your suggestions that should be done to fix this, to make the relationship prosper, to helping both nations prosper together?
First of all, we need to have an ambassador here. The ambassador, we need to nominate an ambassador here in Algeria, and we need to sit around the table and share which are the problems, which are the solutions. We have each have their own, each have their positive things that we can share, even if the negative history, even in all that can be done. I think we have a lot to learn from Algeria, and maybe we have some things we can share with you.
Thank you for sharing this insights today. Dear listeners, I remind you, this was Annick Rasikala, the daughter of the late President Didier, whom I had the pleasure to receive here today. So stay tuned for more interviews and more interesting insights on our radio. This is Iman Nouad, tuning out. Take care.